Welcome to channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updated news, be the first one of getting all the insight. Now today I would like to discuss a case study in regards to the employment sponsored working visa. Now it has become one of the hot topic that a lot of people have been talking about and chatting about, and I've been receiving a lot of inquiry with. Now obviously we have learned and know about the migration review they have done back in April, March or April, and there has been a big changes. For example, they are increasing the TISMIT. That put a lot of people in concern, especially on the 491 visa holders. But for a lot of people who is actually seeking for employer sponsor pathway to permanent residency, wow, this is probably will overtake the quota of the skill migration, as you have recently seen the migration planning review as well. You see the employer sponsor visas quota has increased to a certain level to be the same as the independent skill migration 189 visa, and in that way I think to get a job in the future after 1st July, get a job, get employed, get into the work visa pathway to permanent residency, perhaps is going to be much easier than the general skill migration. So I've done a series of video. I just wanted to show you where my predictions has actually landed quite precisely. So back in those, you see those a month ago, there's a migration review, reform directions, and we talked about the 491 in regards to the 70,000 TISMIT. And there's another video here you may want to have a look. It's talking about the 186 visa, transferring the TRT, which is the new norm. I believe it will be a new norm in the future, where you get your 482 visa, 2 years afterwards you get into TRT, transfer yourself into a permanent residency, and that exploded to a lot of opportunities that we will foresee in the coming future, very near future. And I've also talked about this one, the choices between 482 and 491. I think that will be somewhat very very educational, and you should really learn about what's gonna come in the future, not sticking. Well, you obviously you need to be open. You need to be open. What do I mean be open? You need to be open for the opportunity for 189, 190, 491, and also open for employment sponsor visa. So once you graduate, or even if you're still an international student, provided you meet all the criteria and there's an employer wanted to employ you, well, here's the opportunity. You should be open to that one and submit yourself to the 482 visa, which in the future there won't be any skill occupation list. Now, answering one of the questions that I have received numerous queries about, removing skill occupation list in the employment sponsor visa does not mean removing the SOL skill occupation list in the general skill migration. So if you still want to go into access to 189, 190, and 491, I believe you're still required to do skill assessment, go through those SOL. But if you're going through employment sponsor, here's the key. They removed it. They will remove that, and they will remove the LMT. The only changes there, there's massive change, and also increase the TISMIT and 2-year pathway to permanent residency. I think that pathway is much easier. Well, compare if you wanted to get into those point test system where you getting your IELTS tests and things like that. Sometimes it's quite painful. It depends. Some people prefer studying is an easier way. Some people prefer getting to a job, make some money. And during the time, when the time lapse and completions, you would be able to deem your permanent residency as well. So I want to talk about one of the case study that I have recently encountered. Obviously, I've seen in the industry there has been a vast mass shift in the employment sponsor sector, where there's a trainee visa, there's 491 visa, 494 visa, a trainee visa is 407, and 408 has been granted very, very fast nowadays. So there was a 494 visa that I encountered where they kind of relax the original LMT, because that was during the COVID, or the COVID just finished. So they kind of relaxed. So that was the point where I have see the changes of the government. They wanted to shift full employment sponsor visa. Now, the other one is very, very recent encounter is the 482 visa. Obviously, we are about to hit 1st July. So I've talking to this client of mine, say, look, do you still want to lodge it now, or do you want to wait until 1st July? Because a couple months back, the employer already spent the money on the job advertisement. Remember, 3 of them. That's crazy. And they already got the fund allocated. That means the LMT and also the SAF, the Skilling Australian Fund, which is expensive. Now the news policy will not require to pay for the lump sum, but pay in installment. But currently, you still need to pay a lump sum. So I asked them, do you want to really do it? I mean, this is a huge money. I mean, a couple $1,000s may not be much for the employer, but since the employer already paid for it, they said, just go for it. I said, well, if you guys made the decision, no problem. So the employer actually lodged the 482 nomination on the medium long-term list, and got approved on the same date. Then I went, what? How would this happen? I mean, we haven't seen this for the past 10 years. Yeah, no joke, for the past 10 years. So then I shifted. I talked to the applicant. I said, look, well, we have just experienced an employer nomination being approved within a day, less than 24 hours. Would you like to give a try? So yes, he go, well, if the employer already done it, why not? Okay, so here is the actual visa that we have lodged. As you can see, that's on the 5th of June, so not long ago. Subclass 482 under the medium term, although I believe the new policy, there is no more medium or short term because they're going to remove the occupation list anyway, but it will go into the new policy anyway. So I remove all the ID there. As you can see, this is the proof that the 482 visa was officially lodged, submitted on the 5th of June. Now, a couple days later, only 5 days. Only 5 days. Yes, only 5 days. No joke. This is the grant letter for that client. Now, why do I want to show this? And this is they only apply for 3 years, despite that I think the new policy they'll be deemed to be able to change to permanent residency under the pathway after 2 years. Anyway, now why do I want to show this? Why do I want to telling everybody that this is a very, very quick approval and a grant? Is that we are actually experiencing a major shift of the employment sponsored visa, and now so they have dumped what they have tried to do in the past 10 years, making things very hard, going through a lot of job advertisement, waiting this and waiting that, and sending border forces to check all the employment. No, despite that, you still need to be do the right thing for the employer, not to exploit the migrants. But this very timely granted 482 visa, and all the other one, the 494 and the trainee visa 407, proved to us that there's a major shift. Even the law has not been enforced on 1st July. There has been a major change coming up. Now, what is good for you is that obviously you need to be open. I'm here to tell you, previously in the past, I tell everybody to submit EOI in 189, 190, and 491, every different state. But now you need to be open. If you're employed in Australia with that opportunity, you also need to be open for employment sponsor visa while waiting for the 189, 190. Perhaps getting employer is another way to migrate to Australia. Anyway, should you have more question query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.